Right. Welcome to day 3 of A Job Seeker Asks. I'm Scott Engler. I'm author of The Job Interview and Legends of the Recruiting and Career World, and I'm also a career consultant coach and public speaker. So today, our question comes from Pamela in New York City. So Pamela writes in, "Hi Scott, I am currently working, but I've been looking for new work this past year. I've been more actively searching for the past few months, about 10 hours a week. My biggest challenge is networking. I recently read your excerpt on your website called The Problem and the Solution, and now I feel like I have some much better strategies. However, I do have one quick question. I recently sent an email and didn't receive a response. How do I correctly contact a connection for an introduction to an employee at a company? This person is a first connection, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to send an email which will hopefully lead to an interview. Thank you for your time." Well, thank you for your time, Pamela, and thank you for writing in. And okay, so I do get these kind of questions a lot about the correct way to email someone, send a message, what's the online etiquette. And the truth is that it really depends on a lot of different factors. I mean, it depends on, the person that you're messaging, what the role is at the company. It sounds like, for the sake of this question, that her friend knows somebody that works at the company that she's wanting to work for. So in this case, I mean, my follow-up question to her would be, how well do you know this person that's a first-hand connection with you already? Because if you know them pretty well, then you don't, need to be too concerned about how you word it to your friend or someone that you know, and just say, I'm interested in connecting with one of your connections, John Smith, because he works over at, Rise Inc., and I'm really trying to get a position over there as a project manager. So that's like, you could keep it really short and simple. And I've had great experiences, a lot of my clients have, when you just keep it that brief, assuming that you know the person really well. Even if you don't know them that well, you could say, hey, Mr. Engler, I'm one of your connections here on LinkedIn, and I noticed you're connected with John Smith. I have a lot of experience in project management. I don't know how well you know John Smith, but he happens to work at this company that I'm really passionate about working at. I would greatly appreciate, a formal introduction here on LinkedIn. And please, if there's anything that I could do for you here, and anyone that I could introduce you through my network, I'd be happy to return the favor sometime, even if not now, down the road. And I mean, honestly, like, I've had great experiences. As long as you're willing to show that you're able to support them in any endeavors, or would be willing down the road, most people are more than happy. The one thing that I do want to point out that I think a lot of people don't remember is most people don't check their LinkedIn every day. They really don't. It's not like Facebook or email. So, sometimes it's about being patient. I don't see anything wrong if you haven't heard back, and you do have, sometimes what I've found is, like, you may need to take a more proactive approach. Let's say in this case, her friend just isn't on LinkedIn too much, or, like in my case, I might have a lot of messages and I just can't get back to all of them in a timely manner. And so, like, she could either follow up with her friend again, or, honestly, there's nothing wrong if you have access to the email feature yourself. Why not just contact that person directly, like John Smith, and say, hey, John, I noticed, we have this connection in common, Mr. Engler, and, I had reached out to her to connect me with you, but I just figured I'd try out myself. I'm really, passionate about what your company does. Maybe you could tell me what your experience has been like working for them. And I found a lot of times when you take that approach, it's a lot better, because oftentimes somebody has no say in the recruiting process, the hiring process. They're just, they have their own role at the company, and they really have very little to do with that. And I've found that it's usually more effective to see how their experience is at the job and just kind of get more information about that. And then, once you kind of feel that out, say, finding out like, okay, I noticed so and so is a hiring manager. Would you introduce me to them? Maybe they're connected to the hiring manager and they could give you then that introduction. But there is, I feel as though a lot of people take a much more passive approach. And what I've found with networking, the easier you can make it for that person to help you, the better. So in that example, if I reach out to the employee, I might do my homework beforehand and find out who the hiring manager is or recruiter or whatnot, and then say, hey, by the way, Mr. Smith, I noticed that, Sally Fields is the hiring manager at your location, and I noticed you're connected with her. Like, I would love it if maybe we could have a formal introduction, or you could forward my resume, something along those lines. I'd greatly appreciate it. Please let me know if I could help you out any way, and even if you found a way you could help them, maybe share an article, anything, just really make it as easy as possible for them to be able to help you out. And I've noticed that's usually a really good rule of thumb. So that's all I got today. And again, this is going to be 30 questions that I'm taking on. This is day number 3. So if you do have a question, I highly encourage you to send me a message on LinkedIn. It's Scott Engler, ENGLER, or you could email a question to buildingyourownbrand@gmail.com. Thanks again. Bye.